I am positively Kris Pace, and you are actively listening to Conversations with Kris. Good morning, everyone. This week I am introducing Kyle Weiger. His bio says online that he is a traveling handstand coach, a digital marketing expert, a social media influencer, and he has an incredible background of all kinds of training with yoga, dance, gymnastics, hand balancing, and he incorporates all of that into his movements. And so that's kind of a little bit about who Kyle Weiger is. Who he is to me, he's a friend. He is someone who inspires me every day. He's a coach, a fellow coach who I learned from as well along the way. We've known each other for about 5 to 7 years and have stayed in contact and been friends for quite a while. He has got an incredible online training program to learn a handstand and is probably the most successful online handstand coach out there. He's launching a mobile app that's coming soon. He just finished a retreat in Cancun, and he's on his way to Vegas and about to be a husband. So you're going to hear all of that in our conversations today as Kyle and I sit down and have a one-on-one. Kyle Weiger, he's the man. Here you go, guys.
Hello, sir.
What's up, man? Fantastic. How are you, bud?
I'm good. Let me turn off some lights and
Oh, wow. Yeah. You got like the surface of the sun there.
yeah, we're gonna switch this up. It's
Moving you around.
It's morning time here in Denver, so I didn't want to do this at 6 a.m. my time because the sun would be completely down and have no light.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's coming up right now though. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, brother. Doing great, man. It's Florida, so always warm, always sunny, beach time every day. I mean, could be worse.
Well, you saw where I lived. You've been out to my old spot plenty of times out in Southern California when I was there for like 4 years. It was the most amount of layers I'd ever have to put on was like a hoodie, maybe.
Yeah, and it was every day. Every day you got to wear one out of the house, and then you don't wear anything all day. Then in the
Yeah.
evening, you're like, all right, don the hoodie again.
Denver is a
And
much different story. Denver, it's the other way. You're like, oh, it's supposed to be nice today. Cool. I'll just wear a hoodie, and then snowstorm, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I flew. I think I don't know if I told you last time I flew to Denver. They had 9 inches of snow, shut down the airport. It was like, and I think it was like the first time the airport had actually been shut down in Denver in 20 years or so.
It
Well,
takes
lucky
a
me.
lot. It takes a lot to get that thing shut down because I mean Denver's a big hub. It's middle of the country, so but occasionally they have to. We don't really get snow days in Colorado. That's not a thing. It's just snowing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just snowing.
Yeah.
Period. Always. So how's things been going? You're ready for Vegas, huh? It's coming up soon.
I'm getting married, Kris, on April 26th.
April 26th.
That's coming up.
Geez,
25,
wow,
25 days. And
that's not like an April Fool's joke. We're not gonna.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, we're recording this on April. I forgot it's April Fool's Day. So no, we're getting married in Las Vegas, and then we'll start the home shopping process out there. We already got a realtor and a loan officer kind of already set up. We just need to pick the house. So
how far outside the city will you be?
10 minutes.
I'll
live in Las Vegas. I'll just be 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the strip where all the is, but where I'm living is where all the circus gyms are and the actual city
training facility.
People see Las Vegas and they're like, oh, I could never live there. I'd get in so much trouble. I'm like, yeah, if you're a degenerate and you
yeah, exactly. If you gamble and drink all the time, you're gonna have a really tough time. But personally, I don't do either.
Yeah, I don't drink either. I got sober about 260 days ago. So
I like it.
Yeah. And I gamble a little bit, but it's not
like penny slots.
Yeah, I used to play poker and stuff, and it's so time consuming, and the return on your investment is negative almost all the time.
I remember someone telling me one time, or I was reading a book about Steve Wynn, and he said, those casinos weren't built on customers winning money. And I went, yeah, hang on a second here. We got marble floors and gold ceilings.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that the customer doesn't take home the bulk of the money. So
No, that's not
I
how that.
like I like my money more than that.
I
So
like
wow.
I prefer investing in things now than like betting on a outcome of a football game or something like that. You know, I'd much rather invest in some high return assets.
I think you should start working on a comic career with your memes and your reels, man. Those things are amazing. I laugh so hard when I get to your page, and every time I go, "Oh yeah, that's Kyle."
Yeah,
Like I don't look at the name, I just look at the things, and I'm like, "That's Kyle." It's hilarious,
I wish I could take credit for it. You know, I just follow a bunch of really funny people.
right?
I just don't want my Instagram feed to be handstands all damn day. You know, although
Yeah,
that's
it's.
great. I like gotta have a little humor in there.
Hey, speaking of handstands, so how's that business going? I know you guys just finished up your retreat out there in Mexico, and that had to
Yeah,
be spectacular. I mean, obviously,
dude.
you guys put on a great show. So,
Yeah, it was Ulrich Fossum from Norway and myself. We'll be doing it again. I'm gonna, moving more towards. I'm gonna have my mobile app, which is kind of gonna be the focus moving forward. The website will either stay or go, but then live trainings, man. I mean, you've been to a million, right? Like, there's no substitute for
can't
you
beat
can't
it.
you
I
can't
mean, if
beat
you,
a live training, no matter how good my mobile app is, or like what I
you're
can
still
communicate.
2D.
Yeah. If you and I were having a Zoom training right now, I can still only use my words.
Right,
Uh,
right.
you know what I mean? But when you're live with, you can touch them and correct them and move them in position. So Mexico was a huge hit. Thank you for asking. Went off without a hitch. We had a great group, one of which you referred over to us, right?
Yeah, Janet
Yeah.
went out. She said she had an amazing time, and Sherry's been. Well, I worked with Sherry years and years ago, and so I think they kind of like buddied up too, right? Because
They
they knew
did.
each other from Florida.
They definitely formed a friendship while they were out there. Sherry, I've known for several years. Janet was an absolute treat. Both of which super strong.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and really talented ladies and such sweethearts. I mean, just great people all together. And ironically, I met Janet down in West Palm where I'm teaching next weekend, and Kathy Medeo came to my class there right before Utah at the up the street, and we just missed each other. It was one
Right.
of these like, and she went to yours too, and then you did her. It was like this big handstands missing. We were like,
I just feel like if you're in the industry for long enough, you start to make connections and you know who people are. And well, I remember when I first got into the whole handstand thing through yoga, I followed like two or three hand balancers because in my head I thought surely there can't be any more people that have this level of skill. And then you realize just how deep the rabbit hole goes in terms like I'd see something that blew my mind and would think I'll never see anything like that. And then,
right.
a week later something else comes up that some other circus person did. So yeah, it's the level of talent out there and just the even more so than that, Kris, like the friendships I've made through this are pretty remarkable. You know what I mean?
That's kind of how I feel too. I feel like there's just so many really cool connections you get. And, as I've rolled out this thing, I've kind of picked and chose the people that I wanted to have on the Elite Creators Edition. And everyone I really just sent just kind of a little one line blurb, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? And everyone just absolutely, yes, signed up, boom, 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 boom. And it was like, man, it's really validating, because you make friendships over the years, and it's
Right.
not about, I'm 46 now. I'll be 47 this year. I'm 100% disabled veteran. So my handstands are for out of necessity, right? It's out of self-preservation. I'm not trying to be the world's greatest one-arm handstander. I'm not, I'm also 235 pounds, which is a very large man for handstands. I don't even know we talked about some of the breakdancing guys, but
Right.
but this certainly is a community that certainly seems to be growing. It certainly seems to be a community I really like being a part of.
I love that you're 46 going on 47. I'm 41, 42 in July. And, as a kid, you think 40 is old. When you're a child, like, oh my God,
Jeez,
you're
40.
basically knocking on death's door.
Right,
But
exactly.
now that I'm here,
Future
I'm like,
AARP.
yeah, get your AARP card out. All right, Grandpa, let's get you back to the home. Um, however, now that I'm here, I am stronger today through hand balancing and mobility practice than I was in college, where I was playing NCAA baseball and in the weight room like 4 or 5 days a week. I was a hoss. I'm in better shape now from a mobility and health and injury standpoint than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I understand it completely what you're saying. You learn how to train efficiently and effectively for longevity instead of training intensely for
Right.
whatever sport you're playing, right? So tell us how you got to handstands from college baseball. Like, I mean,
I
were you
was
throwing a pitch and jumped on your hands after
and I
you
just
struck people out? Well, yeah,
just
that'd have
landed.
been a cool. That'd have been a cool
No,
gig.
it wasn't quite that abrupt or sudden. I along with baseball, I loved movement. I loved dance specifically. I was a competitive dancer for a little while in the popping community. And
Oh, we
in my
might have to
younger,
check that video out. We're gonna need a
dude,
little Kyle Weiger on YouTube, bro.
this is
We need to
before
get
the
you on.
iPhone. Before the
There
iPhone.
was no video evidence.
Yeah, no, I was in there is some. I was in a music video in 2010 for Crystal Method. I don't know if you know them, but I was in one of
I've heard of them.
yeah. Anyway, so dance and movement always struck me. I had a buddy who would be like, dude, you should go to yoga with me sometime. And I was like, what? No.
Yeah, right.
Why would I go to yoga? Right.
That's
And then
silly.
so years and years of him just beating me over the head with it. I was like, okay. I'm gonna go to a beginner yoga class. And I was like 15 minutes in and just out of breath and sweaty. And keep in mind, at that time, I was like still in really good shape. I was 28. I thought of myself always as like a lifelong athlete. So I was like, yoga, it's just stretching. How hard could this be? And like 15 minutes in, I'm dying. The woman on the mat next to me, who I had outweighed by probably like 40 to 50 pounds,
Yeah,
was
a human.
in a position that I didn't even think was possible with the human body. And I was like, where am I? What is this weird thing where my athleticism is not a currency in this practice? And so I was
Well said. Well
and
said.
then about 45 minutes into it, they're like, okay, put your hands on the ground, bend your elbows, and I want you to put a knee on each elbow. Okay. And you see where I'm going with this. And
Yep,
then
yep.
lean forward, and I got it like on the first try because I was baseball strong. So
Right,
I
right.
I was like, I can bounce on my hands. I didn't think I could ever, no way. And then I
Yeah.
like headstand was in forearm stand. And then the handstand was just like, I saw someone press up in a handstand in one of like the level 2 classes I went to. And I was like, I will never do that's just too much, right? So hand balancing came from, for me, yoga. And then in Denver we had this group called Awaken Adult Gymnastics. It was gymnastics for like fitness, for not for competition. We're all like in our 30s.
Yeah.
Started training with them, and my handstand got even more dialed in during gymnastics versus yoga. And then I discovered what hand balancing is,
Right.
like the circus art. And
Right.
that's when
The
my mind
actual.
really got blown. So it went from like loving dance into trying out some yoga. As you know, I was a full-time yoga teacher for a while, crossbred with gymnastics, which led to me just kind of falling in love with watching circus performers. So that's what I do now. To be clear, I'm not a circus performer, but like that's my training now is
Understood. Yeah, exactly. You're not that circus you're at that level. It's just a choice. It's a dedication. It's a commitment lifestyle.
It's the hours in the, like I trained 3-4 days a week right now in hand balancing, probably 2 to 3 hours per session. But that, I mean, to get to a circ level,
That's
you need more time. Starting younger probably would have helped.
and did
right now,
nothing but
and do nothing but that. But honestly, man, right now for me, I'm really enjoying my handstand practice. I'm enjoying coaching. I love, I just taught a workshop in Washington, D.C., great group. I'm getting more out of it emotionally and less attached to like, oh, I got to have these certain milestones. I'm just kind of enjoying life, and handstands are just a big part of that. And let's be honest, it's a really cool party trick to bust out at work when people
exactly.
Are you the handstand guy?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many guys at a party, and I'm like, man, you know how alcohol and liquid courage, just people like, oh yeah, he's the handstand guy, and I'm like, I'm gonna challenge him to a contest. I'm like, you don't want to do that. Like, it's not going to go well. And they like,
Right.
whack on the back, whack on the back. And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
you do it. And I'm like, all right. Hold my drink. Get back to me in just a second.
Yeah, I've had that a couple of times where they'll be like, your handstand's not that hard. And I'm like, okay, show me.
Yeah.
It never works out the way they think it will, because they don't realize it's
It's not a
mm,
muscle-based thing. It's
it's a
simply a
trained
talent. It's a skill.
skill, and
Yeah.
it needs to be treated as such. But yeah,
Well,
that
that
was my
explains why you have such a great online program, which we got to talk about the online program because I mean, that was, like I said, I've told you personally, the program is bar none the best out there. I mean, it's amazing. I love the layout. I can't wait to see the mobile app. That's going to be, I
mobile
got to be
apps.
exciting. But the
Mobile app is out.
diversity through yoga, hand balancing,
Yeah.
and general athleticism means you've covered all the grounds. So you must have the best understanding to be able to teach people.
Yeah, I actually draw a lot of my like training philosophy on weightlifting, time under tension, spending time in the position, the said principle, specific adaptation to impose demand. If I want to get to let's use like a 1 minute handstand, a lot of people have that goal. If you want to get to a 1 minute handstand, you better be able to hold 2 minutes at the wall,
Right,
right?
right.
3 minutes at the wall. Like, so you just put your body in the position that you want, and you train ahead of the thing that your goal. If your goal's here, you should train up here,
Sure,
right? Train
sure.
this thing, because then this comes easy.
Exactly. Then it's a no-brainer. Well, you've
Yeah.
broken it down so simply that I mean, it's like level one, level two. The progression is very easy for people to follow along. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, it's perfectly put together. And I mean, I wonder how many people have actually learned to handstand from Kyle Weiger.
I can tell you how many people have purchased it. To,
That's
to the
not that's interesting also.
Yeah, but because like I can track all the stats right on my website. If
Sure.
someone buys the course, I can
Analytics.
see who's progressed. Um, Number one, the course is laid out in kind of a funny manner, in that I needed it to be relatable. My background's in digital marketing, so I wanted something to like appeal to people that they could understand. So I framed it like a relationship. So phase one is flirting with
Yep,
handstand,
yep.
right?
Love
We're just
that.
kind of like
Love that. Yeah,
introducing the joke.
exactly.
Phase two is dating, and then it works all the way through 6 phases, where the final phase is like falling in love with you love your handstand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Courtship where you're headed here in the next few days, 25 days.
it's a courtship, yeah. So, um, and I keep it very beginner. The only thing we work on in that program is the straight line two-handed handstand from the entries of like scissor tuck and straddle. That's it. I mean, they're tip of the iceberg type stuff, but for the beginners, if you're out there looking for something that'll give you kind of a guided roadmap, that's my claim to fame. My 15 minutes of fame was, the moment I posted that ad of my 62-year-old mother sticking like a 30-second handstand from my program. I was like,
That's
I'm
so
more proud,
boss.
more
That's
proud,
so boss.
more proud in that moment than I've been of anything I've done in my life. But we got about 10,000 students around the world that have purchased the
Wow.
program. Not everyone has finished it. Some people just buy stuff because they want the goal. They want the output, but the inputs are where the challenge is, right? And so they'll start the program like, yeah, this is hard. So yeah, I love how many people have adopted it already, and you've seen in the last, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, the amount of
Yeah.
handstands on social media.
It's
It,
crazy. It's
it's
crazy.
insane how many there are
It's
out there.
crazy. And it's beautiful. Beautiful. But it's also a lot. Like, I mean, from
It's a
5, 10 years ago when we were doing handstands,
it's
nobody did
exploded.
handstands.
The the
It's,
the total addressable market for people interested in handstands moved from just like, it used to be kind of like the pinnacle yoga pose. Now it's calisthenics, folks. Gymnasts have always
yeah,
been really into it. CrossFit brought
yeah.
a new what do you want to call them? Like a new breed of handstand, or a new modality of fitness that
Modality, yeah.
also includes the handstand. You
Yeah.
got b-boys that balance on their hands, although they're moving.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many applications, and it's just like a lot of people are interested, and it's just such a cool skill to have. It's kind of
And
fun.
the mobile app's going to be broken down, and we'll have like what I would think would be really interesting is if there was like little 10-minute drills throughout the day that it sets like set an alarm for them and have them do like 5 kick-ups. Like that would be a
Dude,
great little program. I would be like,
so
oh damn,
it's
my phone
funny.
went off. Got to do it. Here we go.
So
Already ahead of me. Can we get
yeah,
a picture of me on there? I just want to be on the app.
now
I just want to be.
I'm so far ahead of you right now. So I got it broken down into like motivation and mindset videos. I got them broken down into movement, shape, strength, and balance. Those are the 4 elements that I incorporate into my training because you got to be able to move. You got to find your shape, like a hollow body, like instead of, kind of a wonky handstand. And then the strength piece, there's the conditioning part, and then dial it all in with balance. So if I click on the movement drills, I have all these drills to choose from, and I click on one of them here and hit, start, and it'll take me to the video that is like a 5 or yeah. It's all the videos. This one's 3 minutes, 52 seconds. So it's basically the way it works is like, yo, people want to learn for the most part a drill at a time. Like, hey, focus me on heel pulls, or focus me on twinkle toes or leg switches or something like that. So each video breaks down the drill. I explain it, I demo it, and then I do the reps with you. So it's not a huge commitment. And 1 drill a day from that app, if you did it for 5 to 10 minutes and start compounding on that, yeah,
You're good. That's what I think it takes. It's got to be hands on ground every day, no matter what. Like that's all there is to it. Like it doesn't matter if it's just for a few minutes a day. Every day they have to touch the ground. Otherwise, you're never going to get the strength
it's
and
like
the conditioning.
it's like one of those, like, would you go a day without drinking a glass of water, or like a day without getting outside in the sunshine?
You're
Yeah,
right. You know what I think is something we should probably market more of that I don't think anybody really talks about is that once you get your handstand, you don't have to do handstands every day. I mean, I do a handstand once every 2 weeks,
mhm.
but it's not going anywhere. I had 3 surgeries last year, and it kept me off my hands for 90 days, something like that. I mean, a long period of time with the longest I have gone since I have a handstand.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I don't know if I can kick back up into a handstand, like what if I lost it? No, first try. It
Yeah.
was like riding a bike, but even easier.
Once you once you kind of have it, in the pocket after training it enough, then you sort of own it, and then it's just refinement. I've had to take injury breaks before, and I come back and I'm like, same thing. You get this weird anxiety of like,
Yeah, strange
I'm not
thought
going to be as
process.
good as I was a month ago or something. And then after like 1 training, you're like, okay, I'm back.
I'm
That's
good. We're
yeah.
good.
But you got to front load. You don't just get that. You have to front load that with
100%.
consistency over time. And then once you acquire the skill, then it's like, okay, well, now what do I want to do with it? Am I a backbendy handstander? Am I a one
That's
armor?
right.
Am I
That's
a
right.
press
Where are you gonna
person?
go?
Yeah.
Where are
Yeah.
you gonna go? And that's the big thing that I think is really cool is that there's no real wrong way to get on your hands. As long
Yeah.
as you're doing it in a healthy way, which, if you follow your program and do things textbook, then you're good. Get up there and play, have a good time. And I know that for hand balancers, tuck ups and scissor kick ups is the best way to keep the hips square, and
Yep.
that's the most logical way to balance the body. But some yogis, and you being a yogi, their hips are never square. They've
Right.
always got some sort of split where the legs are, the hips are spinning, but you
There's
know what? It doesn't
yeah.
matter. They're just upside down. It's
There's
fun.
so many variations of it. Like your training, in my mind, should be proportional to what your goals are. So my goal when I first started was I wanted a 1 minute straight line. So I started training the acrobatic way, very hollow body, open shoulder, like no
Yep.
movement. And then I wanted 2 minutes, and then okay, now I got to start training like my one arm stuff. Okay, I got that. So all the foundations leading up to that. But if your goal is different than that, let's say your goal is to do scorpion in
Yeah.
a yoga class,
Exactly.
it's going to be you're still on your hands,
Much
but
different training procedure.
different training. You need lower back and mid back flexibility. You're not going for the straight line. You're going for the opposite of a straight line,
Yeah.
which is a circle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends what your goals are. I think getting up, getting upside down, whether it's really strict handstand practice or just messing around with your friends at a park, like
Yeah.
there's
So
no downside. There's really no downside.
tell us about the benefits of handstanding. What positives? Because I know for me that I have, my injuries are head injury, so I have a lot of vertigo, ironically,
Mhm.
which it helps me tremendously with. Uh, Headaches, memory loss. So obviously, more blood to the head is better. I
Yeah.
have radiculopathy, nerve damage in the neck. So to get all the blood to my hands to give me some feeling,
Yeah.
great. Strengthens the arms and shoulders. But tell me some more about what you know as far as benefits to the body and mind.
One of the biggest benefits in my mind is just the overall physical conditioning. And I often use this example. When's the last time you were watching the Olympics and you saw an out of shape gymnast? You just, they're in great shape, right? Best in the world. So if you condition for handstanding, including wrist, shoulder, hip mobility, stretching your hamstrings for your forward fold, your middle split, not to mention all the hollow body and core drills that you do, you're going to get in great shape. It's just a byproduct of you training the skill. I like it the most because I'm not focused on, oh, I got to go do cardio. I'm not a big cardio guy. Oh, I got to go do this or do this. Like, hey, I'm trying to learn this skill. And before I know it, 2 hours have passed and I'm in the gym still, moving my body, doing my drills, doing all the things. I'm getting in good shape by not focusing on the shape
Yes.
of it. It's skill based.
Yes.
It's not
And it's
aesthetic.
fun.
Yeah.
And it's not miserable. Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it's probably the least amount. Now, this is being said once you get your handstand, but once you have it, I would say it's the least amount of work you have to do to maintain the best body possible. There's not a
Mhm.
more perfect way of training the body because it's just, squeeze, tighten. It's all about alignment and balance. It's all about breath, controlling your breath, control and that part alone, breathing upside down
Yeah.
is a step that people have a really difficult time with. So how do you teach that? How do you teach people to breathe upside down?
Good question. This one I get often because I split most of my time between yoga studios and like CrossFit gyms where I do my workshops. And so you get like a little bit different crowd in each one of those. And the yoga folks, there's I don't know even how many different types of breath work there are between Kapalabhati, Ujjayi, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, we can get
I
into
prefer
that.
I prefer to do this for my yoga people that might be watching this. I know when you're in like your vinyasa practice, the Ujjayi breath is preferred. However, when I'm in a handstand, I do not want my uh,
Right, right,
my
right.
abdomen and I don't want a lot of movement in the middle of my body because that's
Yep.
gonna, especially when you're new, anything can throw you out of balance. Uh, someone walks by you in the gym
Yeah,
or you breathe too hard and now you're falling.
exactly.
I try to keep my breath just like a normal walking pace, right? I
Yes,
to send the signal to my body, hey, we're calm, we're easy.
right.
This isn't
No
strenuous.
problem.
But like
That's
if I'm doing endurance though, like at the end of my endurance holds around the 2 minute mark,
you're over there breathing like a weightlifter.
yeah, you're just dying. So,
Just
and
need
it's not
oxygen.
it's not one of those also like when people lift, they'll inhale and then exhale when they're doing the work. I think of it as I'm just going for a walk. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to keep
yeah.
it breath easy.
And that's something that for me is the same way. It's a metronome for me. So no matter how fast I get going throughout my day in life, if I need to bring myself back to the proper speed at which I'm supposed to be moving, a handstand anywhere for just 30 seconds, and I'm automatically it just triggers everything to go back to that nice.
It's the classic, meme. No, I really regret doing that workout, said no one ever, right? Like
Exactly.
I've never had a day where doing some movement, and it depends on what your style of movement is. Some people use dance, or some people use yoga, right? Or some people go lift stupid amounts of weights. I like handstand. If I'm in the middle of kind of a rough day and stress, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna unplug for a little while, go balance on my hands, come back, everything's right as rain.
Yeah, I agree. I like to mix it up, but I certainly love handstands as one of the most efficient and effective ways to stay in shape and also stay healthy mentally, and
Yeah.
emotionally. I think, you can't really be upset or angry when you're in a handstand. You have to be relaxed.
Yeah. I've
And I
tried
think
it. I've tried it when
so.
you're all frustrated. And you're
I'm sure that didn't go well. So let's
no,
see, we've got let's see, April 1st. So 25th is wedding. Home
26. Yeah.
shopping, 26. Okay, 25 days, yeah. 26th is wedding, which
Yep.
congratulations officially. Then after that we've got house hunting, and then we're transitioning from Denver to Las Vegas, yeah. And
That's
that'll be
that's
happening alongside the mobile app rollout, because I know
well,
you and you don't like to just do one thing at a time.
the
So you've got
the
like
the
97 things happening.
right. The mobile app has been in production and it's been live for a while, but we're really going to start moving everyone over there. So what I'm finding is between my wedding, the home shopping coming up and rearranging money to make that happen. And then I have kyleweiger.com, the website, and then I have the Kyle Weiger mobile app, which are two different environments. It's a lot to handle. And so what we're looking towards is just moving everyone to the mobile app. All
Okay.
my every piece of training content that I've produced is on that app. So yeah, we have wedding, and then we're putting on this house on the market middle of May. It's Denver, so it's probably going to go quick.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can stay here for a couple of months and do just like a 60-day buyback, and then use that time to get settled in Vegas. At which point I'll have a brand new room to record content in, which will be great for the app or any other thing I produce. But more so, I'm just ready to be in a city that has no snow. I'm good there. I'm good
That's
on
a
all
big
that.
thing, huh?
Yeah, the snow, and then I get to train with some of the best coaches in the industry because a lot of them live in Las Vegas because of the Cirque presence there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the speaking of coaches, who's been some majorly impactful people in your practice? I mean, who started
Yeah,
this thing for you, and who's been right there by your side? I know it changes a lot. We kind of pass around coaches and pass around students,
right.
but tell
Uh,
us.
let me go chronological here. I will shout out a gal named Jessie Hubbard, formerly Jessie Trujillo. Uh, she's a yoga teacher here in Denver, and I got my first handstand ever in her class. And you never forget where the
Never,
first ever where the first
never.
happened. So it was Jessie's class at a Core Power Yoga on Broadway in Denver, and then I found another teacher named Ian Maxwell, who became a good friend of mine over the years. He was like just this yoga ninja, press handstands, all the stuff like I could never imagine myself doing. Ian had it, and
Right, right.
he taught me. Then when I got into hand balancing, um, first influence for sure was Andre Muraru. I saw a video of him on the internet way back when, and I didn't grasp what he was
He's
doing in the
he's
video.
he's pretty good.
Yeah. I was just like, dude, this isn't what he's doing isn't dance. It's also not gymnastics. It's not yoga. What is this? And I was like, oh, it's a performance art called hand balancing. I didn't even know that existed. So my first private lesson was with Andre Muraru, and he was just so inspirational. And then I got a little more serious and went on like week-long retreats with other people I could find. Miguel Santana being one of the first ones. In 2018, I went to Hawaii. I went back to Miguel's training in 2019 in Ibiza. I've done privates with like Andre Bondarenko, Kyle Kregel, and Dima Shine are big ones for me.
Yeah,
Um,
Dima's amazing.
yeah, Kyle lives in in Las Vegas, and he performs in Mystere. Dima has a gym out there called Shine Fitness. During COVID, when everything was shut down, I would drive from Denver to Vegas to go do privates with Dima. I'd stay there for like a week in some
Wow. How
Airbnb,
long does that drive?
12 hours. But it's that or sit in my apartment, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah. So I was like,
exactly.
yeah,
Not a
like
lot
let
of
me
Denver handstand coaches.
yeah, there's not a lot of circus. Like there's a couple of us here that teach. But in terms of the elite level guys, a lot of those
Yeah.
and gals live in Las Vegas. So Kyle Kregel, Dima, I got to do a private with a guy named Ochir, he's from the Mongolian circus. He is unbelievable. I know I'm leaving off like a million people here, but Yeah, there's just so many good coaches out there that are so experienced in this,
Yeah.
that they say things to you that you would have never thought of yourself, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So those are
I think
those are
that's
my big ones.
like you brought up earlier too, now that the calisthenics world has become online really with handstands. And so, we've got some, I mean, I interviewed Sandre Burton. Oh my gosh, this guy's, what he does doesn't make any sense.
He's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
He's
certainly not hand balancing, right? So there's that whole different like, but it's also a different dynamic of like, okay, I didn't know that was an option or that was on the table, and then everyone starts following along.
Andre is
I
he's just strong, like in every sense of the word strong.
every
Um,
word, that
like
guy's
he
just
the
fingertips,
the
pinky
handstand,
finger.
and then
It's a
he'll flip over into some back bend and do like he's got a lot.
modified Mexican.
Yeah, he's got a lot in his bag for sure. I don't know
Yeah,
where that came from, but he's from Oslo, I think, right?
yeah, he is, and he's got a great new line of eco-friendly training aid stuff coming
Oh,
out.
very cool.
Yeah, so really cool stuff. So, obviously being creators, that's what we're looking for. So,
Yeah.
but I love the diversity. And recently I taught at a handstand course at a Ninja Warrior gym. So there's a whole nother, and a rock climbing gym. So it's like people are really jumping on to this handstand program. So I'm glad you got your mobile app up because that saves me the trouble of having to do it. You just set me up on a 30% commission.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll sell your program. It's already really good. I don't need to reinvent
Yeah.
the wheel.
Dude, the American Ninja Warrior, and you mentioned climbers, um, they're just athletes, right? So learning a handstand, if you have any kind of movement background, if you're like into yoga, CrossFit, climbing, American Ninja Warrior, calisthenics, breakdancing, dance, cyclist, runners, if you're in your body more than the average person, you can absolutely learn a handstand. It's a matter of just tweaking a few things and showing you the right technique. Trying it on your own, which you and I know I did. I'm sure you did. Like I've spent years. I'm like, I'm going to kick up. I'll get it. I'll teach. I don't need a coach. You'll get it eventually, but if you want to shorten that learning curve,
Yeah. It's a
like,
lot less painful, also. I know for me. I
yeah,
learned I got on the edge of the sidewalk and kicked up. And that way, when I fell over, I landed in the grass.
yeah, there you go.
And the first time I landed with my feet under me and not on my back, you'd have thought I held a 2-minute handstand. Like I was
Yeah,
like, yes, like I conquered the world. And then from there, it was still another, 2,000 hiccups to get to a place where I could balance. But I certainly highly recommend people get a coach because first of all, you can hurt yourself. Let's be
Mhm.
honest. What do
Yeah.
they say? If you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough. Well, right
Right.
here, brother, right here. But
Yeah,
not everybody's gonna land on their back 1,000 times and be okay. So
the value of a coach, I can't stress this enough. And I have other hand balance friends that would echo the same ethos, but if I were to go back 10 years and give myself one tip, it would be get a coach. That's it. Like it makes all the difference when they can, you're on a program that keeps you regimented, you're accountable to it. You have someone training you who has actually been down that road before. You have another set of eyes. Because the thing with handstand is two things are for certain. It never looks as good as it feels. Like you're like, oh, I'm so straight. I got this awesome line. And then you watch your video on your phone, you're like, the camera must be broken.
clearly,
Right. It never looks as good as it feels, and you're never holding for as long as you think you are.
right, right.
You'll kick up and you'll be like, oh, easy. That was a minute. And you look at your phone, it's like, oh, 7 seconds. Great. So if you have another set of eyes that can critique you and you're open to being coachable, you can make big gains in a short period of time with a coach that you wouldn't make on your own.
And we can see things when we're looking at the student that they can't feel. So you
Mhm.
can kind of make those slight little adjustments, right? And like you said, one of my favorite things about when you train, and I think you still do it, is where you set your phone down and you film yourself timing your handstands, so you can get your 5 1-minute holds or however many
Yeah.
you do, 50. I don't know. For me, it was 5. That's my
Yeah.
magic number. So 5 1-minute holds a day. all I need, and that's kind of like the conditioning aspect of that. But I'm also not seeking your 2 minute 40. Is that what it is? 240?
240 is my best, but like I have a buddy Garrett who just helped like last week or last month I was at the gym. I text him like, "Hey Garrett, what's going on? How's your training going?" He's like, I literally just came down from a 15-minute handstand.
15 minutes?
And that's not even
Do
that
you
long.
watch a movie up there? Do you like
Like
put
on
a
the
TV show on? I mean,
what they
what's
do is
because I would be
order to
bored.
save his wrists, he'll go one arm for a minute, one arm for a minute, and then two arms for a little bit, and then back to one arm. But there's athletes that train that can hold for an hour.
And I've seen Andre do 107 back and forth. Yeah, still
Yeah.
don't know how that was done. I think there was some
Funny
camera tricks.
funny story about that. Right before he posted that, he was in Sydney, Australia, with Curios. I was teaching in Sydney at this place called Unity Gym, which is awesome. I love teaching Australian folks. And so Andre was in town. Naturally, I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, can I come over to your hotel and get a private session?" Um, and so number one, I'll tell you this. In my head, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm about to work with Andre Bondarenko. He's probably going to just like unlock this
Right.
one arm in a single session, no problem." And then and then we just ended up doing 90 minutes of tuck because he was like,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
tuck is not strong. And I was like, okay. Like I take that feedback. What do I need to work on? He's like, we need this tuck drill and this tuck drill and this one. Later that night, I go to Curios to go watch the show, which by the way is phenomenal.
Amazing.
He's not in it anymore. He's in one of the Vegas shows now, but Curios it's a steampunk themed circus, and it's
Nice.
so great.
That's
Anyways,
amazing.
we go back. I go backstage. He was kind enough to let me back there and see kind of the behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, "Hey man, when you get to your level, what are you working on? Like what's new for you?" And he's like, "Well, earlier I just did 100 switches." I was like, "You did one arm, 100 one arm switches in a row?" And he was like, yeah. He talks about it like it's not much. And I was like, "How long did that take?" He's like, "Oh, it's up there for like 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes." And I'm just like, wow, man, that guy, I can't really wrap my head around.
No,
I
no,
can
it
now
makes
'cause
sense.
I see how people train. If you want extreme results, or let's not call them extreme. If you want elite results, you have to train
Elite.
elite, right? And that's what
Right.
he does. But yeah, the 107 or 105 total switches that he got,
Whatever it was
yeah, ridiculous.
mind-boggling. Yeah,
So he was
exactly.
like, "I haven't posted it to Instagram yet because the video's too long." And he's like, "I got to speed up." I was like, "Dude, you can handstand longer than Instagram allows."
That's right. You broke the circuit. The algorithm is over. So
Broke the
your one arm's come along pretty nicely lately.
It's getting there. I have some glimmers of hope
Yeah.
as you probably
Yeah.
felt. You get that thing
It's the
where
journey. It's the
I don't
journey though. That's the prize.
I will, yeah, let me talk about that in a second. That's a big one. The one arm thing I don't post a ton because my account on Instagram is basically meant to be a tutorial based.
Exactly.
I teach a lot. For
Exactly.
those of you watching this, if you're wondering what kind of, teaching style I have, go check out my Instagram. My thousands of posts on there with quick little drills, but I don't really post my one arm stuff on there because honestly, it's not that impressive to anyone but me. It's
Exactly.
an
Exactly.
internal thing.
And it can be a turnoff, honestly, to people, especially if they're looking to get into handstands for the first time,
Yeah.
and they
They're
see
like, "This
that,
is
and
too
that's like,
complicated."
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
So
whoa,
the journey to one arm has been a long one. I've battled, injuries as we all go through. But I'm getting to the point where I go here, here, and then take it off, put it back on. So on a good day, I don't know, 5 to 7 seconds on my right, maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 seconds on my left. The goal by the end of 2024 is between 10 and 15. I would settle for 10. I would love 15 on each arm.
whoa.
But it's more like, honestly, Kris, I'm 41. Is my 10-second one arm gonna get me to the circus? No, like that's absurd, right? But
Yeah.
so it's become
It's
for
a
me,
personal goal.
like I said earlier, it's my practice is really enjoyable right now. And I love that, like, if I get my good like 8-second hold on my one arm on my right, I'm like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
put that one in my pocket and take it home, and I'll go, train again tomorrow. But I used to be really dogmatic about having to get my goals by a certain time. And don't get me wrong, I love that kind of mindset, but just where I'm at with my relationship with handstand right now and my life, wedding, moving across, and I also have a job in user experience research, which is its own fun thing. It's a practice for me. It's no longer this big pyramid where I'd get to the top by achieving some goal. It's just like, I really enjoy doing this.
Well, and I think you brought up a good point. If you want to seek hand balancing as a career, it's all you do. You don't do anything else. That's the entire day, every day.
Yeah.
And Sasha Bachman and I were talking, and I took him to go to the Top Golf. And it was the first time he'd ever picked up a golf club. He's never been bowling, never been golfing. He's like, I've done nothing but handstands my whole life. And it was awesome. He was still talented, but as an athlete, but it was like, he goes, you just literally, this is what you do every day, all day until, forever. And so I think finding that balance for what you're looking for, establishing a goal ahead of time. So, when you sign up for Kyle Weiger's app, boom, this is what I want to accomplish 30-second handstand, or I want to do a scorpion. That's a great way to look at it. So, speaking of goals, where do we see you in 5 years? What's Kyle Weiger doing?
Oh man, I just in my physical life, in 5 years, let's hope I have that 10-second one arm. I'd like to. The goals are a moving target, because I once had a goal of a minute, and now I have the goal of 2 minutes. And then at one point in my practice, like right now, I can do a 2-minute handstand as my warm up. And that's a big leap to make. I want to delineate that. You're making progress when your former goals have now become the thing you use to get ready for training. Like, my old goal is now my warm-up. That's great. So I would see myself a lot more mobile, a lot more flexible. I've really prioritized mobility and flexibility in my handstand practice.
Is there a hollow back coming from Kyle Weiger at any point in time?
Not to the degree that you have. Not. I always make a joke whenever I do workshops that I'm the world's least flexible handstander. So I work on it, right? I prioritize the places where I see efficiency. 5 years from now, I will be 46. We'll be
right where I'm at
with my beautiful wife in Las Vegas. Goals are, I have my job, takes care of me. I love what I do, and I work with a great group of guys. I'll be able to work from home during the day, have like my man cave set up with all my computer monitors and all that. And then at night I go train, I come home, sit by my little hot tub or pool or whatever we land on in Vegas. And I just have an easy life. That's the goal. I choose to train hard because I like it, not because I have to. I teach workshops because I like it, not because I have to. I was a full-time traveling handstand coach, as you know, and back then I marketed heavily because it mattered to me how many people signed up, because I needed the money, right? Nowadays, if I get 12 really focused students in a workshop, I'm super happy about it, because it's not my main source of income. It's more something I get to do that kind of lights me up in different ways. So I feel like, because I only teach one workshop a month or two, I get to give 100% of me to that. Whereas I would go on like 8 to 12 week, tours, so to speak. And every week is a new city, and you're just like, at the end of it, you're like, man, I'm exhausted. So I feel like I can give more to the students. And I hope to keep that trend going for the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe open up my books to private clients and, do some of that.
Will there be an heir to the Uyghur throne, or what?
No, we are doing the Dink life. Dual income, no kids.
You guys, that's the way to
go. The lineage stops.
I love my 3 sons. Love my 3 sons, but
well, I'm an only child, so my mom will not be getting a grandchild. Kelsey,
but she got a handstand, so
she did get like, you can pick one, Mom.
Even better.
So Kelsey, my wife to be, has a brother who, if he has a child, then their family lineage will continue. Mine's good. We're gonna
cut off. That's it.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna be
legacy of Weiger will die off as far as lineage, but the handstand legacy will carry on forever. That's what I
yeah,
know.
right. So on my tombstone, it'll read, the last Uyghur right here. So um,
And they're gonna bury it upside down, right? I mean, of course,
yeah, I would
naturally.
prefer to be buried in a handstand, or in one of those little tree pods. Have you seen
That's what
those?
I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm
You
gonna do
can
the tree pod.
you
That's
can
amazing,
plant
right?
yourself. You
Yeah.
can plant yourself into the earth and
I'd
grow.
like to be a citrus tree or a marijuana plant. I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
kind of on the fence. Or both. Maybe
there,
we can
there you
combine
go. Some kind
them.
of some kind of
Sky's the
hybrid.
limit.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like um that's my 5 to 10 year goal. I do quite a bit of like investing on the side. Um
Nice.
hoping to retire, at a reasonable age. So yeah, ease. In my 20s, I was party, party, party. 30s, hardcore business. Work as hard as you can every waking hour of the day.
Nice.
Now I'm in my 40s. I'm like, okay, I kind of get myself established a little bit. I'd like kind of maybe take my foot off the gas,
You
for
should enjoy some of the stuff I earned.
right. So yeah, that's the phase. By 50, I probably won't want to do a damn thing. I'll just want to
No,
hand
yeah,
by the pool. Yeah.
I think the older we get, the more we want to just isolate ourselves somewhere. Like, I noticed that I'm already like seeking 10 acres and I like want a perimeter and I want to be in the
Dude.
middle and I just want to be away from everyone. Now, I love to go interact and teach and be a part of it, but I like to also be able to get for
So
everybody.
we got Vegas, right? We're moving to Vegas. Our long-term plan is to buy a patch of land in Las Cruces, New Mexico, where Kelsey's from. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And have like 5 or 6 houses in this, acreage, with just our friends. And so we'll have our own
I
community.
mean, yeah,
That way, if the
beautiful.
zombie apocalypse starts, we'll
Fine. No
the
big
compound.
deal. Yeah, exactly. Have all your food going, you got all your animals, you got your things, you're good to go.
Yep.
Everything's set up. Well, that's
So
awesome,
I'm
man. Thanks for taking
moving
time out.
moving from a very digital marketer, cryptocurrency, age to like, who knows, in 15 years, I might just be hanging out with a couple goats, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we literally just get to the point where like I think I'm gonna go train sheepdogs. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
It just seems like something I want to do now. So
Got
who
my
knows? You never
got
know.
my
I mean,
chickens. I'm gonna get my own eggs, whatever. So yeah,
therapy
dude, I
center.
appreciate you having me on here. I know this
Oh
is
man, it's
a
always a
project you've
pleasure.
been working extremely hard on. And so I'm honored that I'm part of the show. And I wish you all the best of luck. Let me know how I can, help the conversations with Kris brand, or if I can promote it. Obviously, on this episode, I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
with all
absolutely.
my
We've
posts.
got your magazine covers coming up. You are episode one. Obviously, I've got to do a precursor episode zero so that
Right,
people know what it is. But
right.
you're going to be the first episode. That's why I'm excited to have you as number one. And I've recorded and recorded and recorded and recorded. And I have so many episodes recorded now. So I'm ready.
You're ready.
I needed Kyle Weiger to go ahead and set down an hour for me. And I
I
appreciate you
appreciate
taking
that,
that
brother.
time, brother. It really means a lot. And don't forget, make sure you plug all your stuff real quick so everybody hears
Yeah.
about it because it's going to be all over the place.
Yep. Right now, you can go to your app store, whether that's Google or Apple. Just type in my name or type in the term handstand coach. That's the name of the app. It's called Handstand Coach Kyle Weiger. I don't think there's any other handstand coaches named Kyle Weiger, so you should be okay there.
How do
You
you
know,
spell that?
Weiger. It's
There you
I'll be just the mnemonic device I always use for people. It's like wiener with a G, and once they hear that, they never
go.
forget. Right? It's Uyghur.
I thought it was Weiger for ever.
Yeah, if someone pronounces it Weiger, I don't correct them because it legitimately looks like Weiger.
Weiger.
Um, the other thing is, I'll have retreats coming up. We're doing Mexico again next year. I'm sure I'll have some workshops come up, throughout the summer and fall. So stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram. That's usually the easiest place. That's where I make all my announcements. At Kyle Weiger. I don't have like a fancy name on Instagram. I'm not smart enough for that. It's just like
Keep it simple.
keep it
What
simple.
they
So yeah,
say,
man,
keep it
that's
simple.
my plug. That's my shameless self promotion.
All right, one last thing. So Miguel, who you brought up earlier, is doing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show. Yeah, so I set him up. He's coming up soon. So let's get a question from you for him that I can ask him.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Something,
I think this will be fun, right? To
tell
be able
him,
to ask.
well, I'm not, this one isn't a question, but two things. Tell him my abdominals have finally healed from Ibiza 5 years ago. He
You know what that means.
he'll know what that means. He put us through. I developed like this severe cramp in my stomach at his training because we were just working really hard. And Miguel, here's my question: do you like me better with or without the man bun? Because when we
Got
were
it.
at Ibiza,
Got it.
I had long
Fantastic.
hair, and he has extremely long hair in a very big
Yes.
bun. So you ask Miguel Santana, Mr. Low C himself, um, if he likes me better with or without the man bun.
I think that's a perfect question. For me, I think without. I think it looks great. I like
So does basically
a
every
lot
woman in
easier.
every woman in my life also.
No one's been like, "Where's the man bun go, bro?"
Yeah, no one's clamoring for the
That's
man
not a
bun to
thing.
come back. Oh, dude, I'll let you
All
get
right,
on
man.
your day.
Yep,
Hit me up whenever you need. You know I'm around. You got my number.
it's coming this week, so be ready.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. We'll talk
All
to
right,
you soon.
brother. We'll see you, man. Thanks, Kyle.